What is up? Good evening. We are still out here. We're still out here. Twins may have lost, but we are still out here. Twins dropped game one of the ALDS at Houston. Put up a good fight, though. What's up? Thank you so much for joining me. Tom Froming here. TF Twins is the channel. If you're watching this on replay, stick around. We will keep this moving. We will hit on talking points. Have a lot of good discussion here. I think you'll enjoy it still. To the live crowd, what up? We are still here. That's right, Chris. Let me know your kind of reflections from the game. We're going to talk about some of the stuff I'm feeling. Obviously, would have loved to get away with a win. Obviously, there. But that was the biggest mismatch we're going to see this entire series, with Justin Verlander matching up basically against a combination 1-2 punch of Bailey Ober and Kenta Maeda. Yeah, we're going to talk about the umpiring. We're going to talk about the umpiring. Moral victory, we're not going to get anything in the tally, in the standings, or in the the series, but I think there's some good arguments to be made there. I would maybe put it as maybe not moral victory, but I think the guys can leave the ballpark not feeling too down about this game. I think the guys can leave the ballpark feeling like they put up a good fight. They missed opportunities. The Twins had an opportunity to win this game. Even with everything that went down, even with how it all transpired, Twins still had an opportunity to win this one, even with the bad matchup. And, they fought hard. They played pretty well. I mean, there's certainly some plays that the Twins made that weren't good plays, but they made a lot of great plays. If you saw my last live stream coming into this series, I have a abundance of respect for this Astros team. It's the top of their roster, especially their upper echelon players, who are the guys that we saw step up today. A lot of them are so good, and they've done this so many times in the postseason. Much respect to that team, but I'm not out on the Twins. I'm not out on the Twins, especially not after that game. That's not the game that's going to put me out. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you know what? We should give Polanco some love. That was kind of a big talking point of the last live stream, and I cut that into a video and shared as well. Was like, the Twins, obviously the pitching matchup was sort of the biggest question mark, and we were trying to figure out who was going to start and how they were going to navigate that and all that stuff. But the other question that really came up in that live stream, and you guys brought it up a lot, was the Polanco. Polanco at third. What were they going to do at third? And obviously his home run. Oh my God, did Polanco get that one? But he made a great catch too at third base. Made all the plays at third, made a tremendous catch at third base as well. So yeah, he played really well. Should be, want to make sure to give him an early shout out here, because definitely we're dragging on him a little bit. That's Jorge Polanco. That's a veteran guy. Knows how to play ball. Isn't going to completely fall apart. He's not going to carry those bad plays forward with him. So credit to Polanco. Yeah, runners in scoring position. That's why the Twins lost. We're going to talk about some other stuff that didn't really go their way, but I want to make that clear first. I wouldn't even say like they couldn't contain. They lost because of anything, on the pitching side. They gave up 6 runs. That's not great. But I honestly, and I shared this on Twitter, I honestly feel like every single time the top of that rotation comes up, you can bank on them scoring. That's how good that top of the rotation is, and especially in October. You can just expect them to score. So it doesn't surprise me all that much that they scored. They did score runs every time they went through. Not as if to sort of totally let the Twins off the hook here, but I think a lot of this game was the Astros playing well versus the Twins playing poorly. The Twins definitely didn't execute in a few spots. Edouard Julien, I don't know if he forgot about how many outs there were or what happened when he got made an out on the bases, but that was kind of killer. That one kind of stands out in particular. There were some others, but I thought we kind of hit on the Astros hitting. I thought Verlander, just showed how he knows how to make adjustments in this game. He doesn't have his really hot fastball. He doesn't have right now. And he did not have his command of that fastball in this game. And they really changed things up in the middle innings to throw a ton of breaking pitches and a ton of his big slow curveball, which the Twins were not expecting, not prepared for early in count. Sometimes the first pitch of an at bat, he'd throw in that big loopy curveball, and that really seemed to have Twins hitters off, kind of catch him off. And then he seemed, once he threw that over for a strike, it really seemed to put him in the driver's seat. So it's just like a really good combination of, I thought he did a good job of sort of self-assessing and realizing like, okay, this stuff isn't working for me. Let's switch to this. And then once they made that adjustment, they realized like, oh, these guys can't counter adjust what we just adjusted to. I feel like I just said adjusted a lot, but I don't know. I thought it was a great game to watch. I had a lot of fun. I'm just having a blast watching these games, watching the Twins play big games. And again, I don't think we need to leave this game like with our tail behind our legs, honestly. Jordan certainly punched us in the face. Altuve hitting the first pitch out. I mean, let's be real. How many? There was definitely some deep down feelings of like, oh, it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those. And I know a lot of people kind of gave up on the game, and they did lose. So, I guess they were right. Those people who gave up on the game. But I also saw some people giving up on the series already. And that wasn't going to fly. That wasn't going to fly with me. Because, again, this was the worst matchup of this series for the Twins. Yeah, Ryan Jeffers, that was awesome. That was a tremendous play. That was another kind of sneaky Correa play. Another one. He's given us one each of these games. But the other thing, too, about this loss is that the Twins only used Bailey Ober, Kenta Maeda, Chris Paddock, Caleb Thielbar, and Emilio Pagan. So that's another thing, too. You could feel a lot worse. Like if the game went a little bit differently, and let's say the Twins used Stewart and Jax and Duran in this game and still lost, that would feel a lot worse. That would feel a lot worse. So Houston, in addition to having this matchup, they also, they've been off this whole time. They were able to line everything up the way they wanted it to. They could line up their rotation. They had their bullpen fresh for this game. So they had the advantage there. Now, kind of things are in that regard, I think. Things shifted the Twins' way a little bit here. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Framber Valdez is amazing, and he's left-handed, which the Twins haven't been as good against lefties as we know. So this is going to be a super difficult assignment once again. Their bullpen, even though, if you're not familiar with this team, you might think, oh, the Twins got Verlander out, and then they got to that bullpen. That's the formula. Their bullpen is legit. Hector Neris, who the Twins scored 4 runs against, has a 1.71 ERA on the season. So that was crazy that the Twins got to him for 4 runs. Brian Abreu, who followed him, has a 1.75 ERA. I was looking it up. Both those guys are amazing on 0 rest. So they're going to be available tomorrow. Presley is a guy who's not as good on no rest. So keep that in mind tomorrow if that comes up. But the Twins, all of their A-side bullpen guys, except for Thielbar, who is the only lefty in the pen right now. He's the one guy that maybe you feel like, oh, man, it's too bad we had to go to him. I'm sure he's going to be available tomorrow, but kind of as we saw, and I don't want to kind of take a shot at Thiel. I mean, that swing by Alvarez, that was a good pitch. That was a good pitch he hit out. So I don't want to get too down on Caleb Thielbar for giving up a home run to Jordan Alvarez, who I said on the last live stream, I think he's the most dangerous hitter in baseball right now. And it's pretty easy to say after tonight's game. Easy to say. Yeah, Paddock looked great, man. He continues to look great. He's going to be pitching low leverage for as long as this journey goes for us. But I think we can really start to feel good and kind of get excited about what Chris Paddock might be for the Twins next year too. That's been a fun one. Yeah, leave it to Twins fans to follow the most inspirational pair of victories, trying to use with waving the white flag after 4 innings. I don't think that was most people. But there's definitely those people out there. At least the Twins fought back. Again, there are no moral victories. We're not going to get any kind of credit for that. But again, I think the vibe of the team coming out of this game can feel like, all right, we lost that one, but it took every haymaker Houston could throw. It took Jordan hitting 2 home runs. It took a leadoff home run. It took them having Verlander. It took their A side of their bullpen, and they needed every one of those punches to put us down. So the Twins can come back tomorrow and feel like, now we got Pablo. We got Pablo, our guy out there, and they can feel good about it. This offense, obviously, even sweeping Toronto, it's not as if this lineup looked really good. And I think, you can't say that they did tonight, too, to be fair, having such struggles with runners in scoring position. So it's not as if, this lineup what really clicked tonight. It was just they had the 2 big hits. Yeah, Diamondbacks won. I don't bet on baseball. I'll put that out first. I don't bet on baseball. But before this game started, I said Twins in 4, and this was the game I had them losing. So I still think the Twins can win this series in 4 games. I think the Twins can win these next 3 games in a row, to be honest with you. You got Pablo, you got Sonny Gray, you got Joe Ryan at home in game 4 against it's going to be, if necessary, we'll have to say that. And it would be with Verlander on short rest. And, again, Justin Verlander's still really good, but he's not upper echelon all capitals Justin Verlander. Again, I said this in the last, still an ace. Said it in the last live stream. Still an ace, absolutely. But then you throw into the fact that he might be pitching on short rest, and I feel like there's maybe another little crease for some hope there. But again, guy shut us down. He looked great. Looked great tonight in terms of his ability to adjust and execute big pitches. Yeah. So Twins fought hard. Again, I will say that they lost because they could not take care of business with runners in scoring position. But this has to be said. This has to be talked about. I have to pull up this information from the balls and strike calls. This absolutely had an impact on the game. This absolutely had an impact on how Twins hitters were approaching some of their at-bats, kind of starting with the middle innings. It's going to be interesting to see the numbers on the ump scorecard tomorrow because, this is pretty lopsided. There are ways that a pitcher can take advantage of a strike zone or certain pitches in certain locations being called certain ways. So I don't want to paint this as being, again, number 1, this is not why the Twins lost. Number 2, there are ways that good players can take advantage of this. And maybe there's an argument to be made that the Astros pitchers took more advantage of this opportunity than the Twins did. But it's really hard. It's really hard looking at these and seeing how many balls that were either out of the zone or very borderline got called strikes for the Astros. And the Twins had quite a few pitches in some of those same locations and did not get those calls. Also, the most obvious ball call for the Twins up there in the top right, that was the first pitch of Bailey Ober's at bat against Yordan Alvarez, in which he gave up the very next pitch was the home run. Not to say that home run doesn't happen if Ober gets up in that count instead of behind, but certainly doesn't hurt at all. And then one of those bad strike calls was with Willie Castro with a full count. So that was strike 3 instead of ball 4. He would have scored on Jorge Polanco's, it would have been grand slam had Willie drawn a walk. So these and 2 other of the bad strike calls were strike 3. So it's not, and sometimes you look at these and it's like, it was a bad strike call on the first pitch of an at bat. And it's like, all right, you had the whole rest of your plate appearance to kind of turn things around. I very rarely talk about umpiring on this channel. Incredibly rare. It has to be pretty bad for me to even bring it up in conversation. And even now I'm still saying this is not why the Twins lost. But if you didn't watch the game, if you're kind of coming in after here looking for some analysis, this was something that happened. And it was a big deal. Don't want to dwell on it too much, but I think that's another reason why, if you're a Twins fan or even the guys in that clubhouse, they can feel good, is that they also had quite a few calls go against them. And that certainly didn't help their efforts. And they still made this a tight game. They still made the Astros sweat. Again, we're not getting any moral victories, but like I said, I feel like the guys don't need to be hanging their heads. Nobody needs to be having their tail tucked between their legs or thinking, how can we even imagine winning in Houston with how things went? No, I think this team fought back. and stayed up and showed some fight. I like that. Yes, the Joe Ryan experience. Yeah, I would. I mean, things can change, but yeah, I would expect Joe Ryan if to be the Game 4 starter at home. The conversation is a lot different. Joe Ryan at home versus Joe Ryan on the road and in Houston. Now, it's fair to argue if someone wants to argue. Well, Joe Ryan probably could have done better than Bailey Ober today, and I think that's probably fair to argue. And if Ryan, the thing with Ryan is, yeah, you can expect him to maybe give up some home runs, but as long as it's like you give up 2 solo home runs, you might be able to hang with these guys. And as long as you're missing bats other than that, because this Astros team that we're not, this is, get used to this. They're going to score 4 or 5 or 6 runs, I think, every game. We're not going to be shutting these guys out. We're not going to be holding these guys to 1 run. It's gonna, they're going to bring it. They're going to bring it. They're going to be scoring runs. The Twins just have to limit. They have to limit the damage on home runs. You try to give up solo home runs if there's going to be home runs. So keep the bases clean when those big boppers are up, and then really don't give anything away to McCormick, who's really good. Like that's hard to sit. Chas McCormick had a great year this year, but those type, Jeremy Pena, those type of guys, you can't let those guys beat you, because the big dogs are going to be producing some runs. So you cannot let those guys beat you. And so it's hard to paint it like the Twins pitched well tonight, since they gave up 6 runs. But they sort of followed that formula of, the middle of that lineup is going to get to you. Can't let the end of that lineup do damage as well. Yeah, Kenta. It's tough. Kenta, coming out of the bullpen too and everything, pitching through like he did. Again, it was Ober, Maeda, Paddock, Thielbar, Pagan. Really like the way the Twins bullpen lines up for tomorrow evening. We'll see. And I really think this is going to be, if they can win tomorrow, what a huge swing that's going to be. Huge. They have the win. They're going back home to play 2 games. So you can kind of take that mentality of like, all right, we got out of here. We salvaged a split here. Now we get to go back to our place and we can potentially end this thing at home. Like that's just the momentum shift that might take is insane. That's why I still believe that they can win in 4. Even with me being pretty terrified of the Astros, to be honest. I'm just being honest. I'm more scared of the Astros than any other AL team that's left. No big disrespect to Texas or Baltimore, but I think this Houston team is so good. I think they showed it tonight. But I think the Twins can do this still. I really do. We'll see how it goes. I'm not giving up any hope. But yeah, paramount to everything, even with a loss, even with all the frustration with, the Twins, they performed frustratingly at the plate with runners in scoring position. I think, and again, that's why they lost. And then the calls, that was frustrating too. I still had the best time. Oh my God. I freaked out at that Ryan Jeffers throw that got Abreu. Scared my whole house, my whole family, my cats. Everybody was horrified at the noises that were coming out of my mouth at that play. So I had the best time watching this game still. And again, I love the way things line up for here. And I think it was easy to, not to completely sweep this one aside. There were things that the Twins need to be better at. There were the things the Twins need to work on and execute better on the rest of the series. But I think it was really easy to look at this game and just be like, yeah, this is probably going to be a Twins loss. With Verlander going against Ober in game 1 here. Tough matchup. All right. Well, it's going to be a short stream this evening, but we'll be talking tomorrow night. Pablo, what is he was talking about, the privilege of pressure. You know, this is the guy. This is the guy we want out there. This is the streak breaker. He's going to be the slump buster. The one game slump busted. Pablo's going to get it done. Again, it's not going to be easy. It's not as if he's going to shut out Houston. They're going to score runs on him. This is going to be tough. They're going to get to him. He's got to shoulder the load and turn things over in a good spot to the bullpen, and the lineup's got to take care of business. They did a nice job creating opportunities. Credit to the lineup early in the game for creating opportunities against Verlander. But you got to cash in. You got to cash in on those. So short stream tonight. Thanks so much for hanging out, though. Really appreciate it. We'll talk again soon.